Welcome to the Nerdstorm podcast. My name is Kyle. Like always, I'm the host, and also, like always, I got Hayden and David with me. My partners in crime, I suppose, if we were to ever commit a crime. If anything, it's just us talking crap on Nintendo, for the most part.
The biggest crime.
So today we're going to talk about Blizzard with some cool Overwatch changes, DLC crappiness and goodness, and we also miss Peter Molyneux for Fable 4. Anyway, enjoy the show. So, we got some changes to Symmetra. Like, we're not talking, like, just little tweaks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nerfing, buffing.
So, on their side of things, Blizzard's side of things, they noticed that she's only played during the first section of a match.
Yeah.
And that, where, like, with the exception of, like, Temple of Anubis, because you'll see her play on the back half of that as well.
Yeah.
Also, I learned something from Megan the other day that I did not know, where if you throw up a teleporter and someone captures the territory that it was in, like it gets refunded to you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
that's kind of cool.
Get that all back.
That's actually really cool that they did that.
But yeah, so anyway, like they've noticed, like she gets played like in the first section when there's a point to capture, and once the payload's moving, people immediately switch out of her.
Yeah.
And go to somebody else. And they've also noticed, like, you know, once you get down to Symmetra's
she's like she's only situational. People will only play her
Yeah.
in specific situations, which is the complaint that Jeff Kaplan, who's the game director, has had about her for
senior
like
Blizzard
almost almost like the beginning of the game, like since the game release. He's complained
Right, so real quick,
about Symmetra specifically.
that guy, like, you hear him talk, and you think, man, this guy knows a ton about everything.
Oh yeah.
Like, I love to sit down and talk to him.
He's been with Blizzard just as long as some of the other guys have.
But number two is, like, man, this guy is like an overdose of nerd. Completely. It's just...
Well, that's actually one of the things I love about Blizzard in general is they all, like, especially the game directors. Because, I mean, look at Ian for Warcraft. Like, he screams nerd as well. Mm-hmm. Like, the way he talks. Mm-hmm. Like, it reminds me of... I can't remember his name all of a sudden. The guy from Simpsons, the professor in Simpsons. You know what I'm talking about?
Professor
Farnsworth?
Or Futurama?
Is it Farnstein?
Farnsworth? Professor Farnsworth is in Futurama.
No, not Futurama. I mean, similar, but the guy that's in The Simpsons that's always creating, like, little inventions and stuff like that.
I'm probably thinking of the wrong person.
Comic book nerd.
No,
he's not. It's not. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as comic nerd because
Bart Simpson.
No, his comic nerd. He's very arrogant. Like, he treats you like crap. I don't think Ian treats people like crap.
Can I tell you a secret?
I think Ian's awesome.
I didn't watch Simpsons like at all. I watched like all of Futurama.
Well, I mean, I'm not doing very
Simpsons.
well representing Simpsons either. I've been watching it for a really long time, and I can't even remember one character's name.
Was he yellow?
He was yellow. But anyway, so
then I see how you could get a mix.
Yeah. Jeff Kaplan talks about not only will the character have adjustments and improvements made, but she will also have a second ultimate ability.
Good news, everyone.
Is that what he said when he's like, exactly. And she gets a second ultimate ability?
The thing about those, I'm sure, if you're I guess new to Blizzard and they're balancing things, like that may sound overpowered.
But they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing, and like the Druid has 4 class specializations, and the Demon Hunter has 2.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't complain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've got both those classes, and it feels right.
Yep. It does, yeah.
Also, way too many people play Druids.
Druid's very powerful right now. That's got a lot to do with it. Like, the DPS on both Balance and Feral's decent. Guardian is one of the top tanks.
And then playing a game. This is looking at each other while we're not
Druids are like one of the top healers, so it makes sense that a lot of people would want to play.
Yeah, no, like Druids are.
Plus, their artifact weapons are amazing.
Yeah,
some of the best looking artifact weapons in the games, like hands down.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that probably has a lot to do with it, and I'm super excited for some of the redesigns that they have for like the upcoming designs they have for the artifact weapons. Like the Guardian Druid looks amazing. It's basically a man bear.
Throw a little pig in there and you got yourself a party.
Yeah.
All right, so back on Symmetra, just to kind of clean it up.
Yeah.
So she's got a second super.
Mm-hmm. And the second super is going to be a shield generator.
The shield wall.
Well,
Generator.
they call
No,
it a shield generator.
It gives people shields as a revive.
I maybe misunderstood this. Because what I thought they were saying is they're taking away her shield player ability and giving her a shield generator. And that was what I took to mean, like, that thing you throw down, like, in your nest or whatever, and as long as other players were nearby, it would just give them a shield.
Yeah.
Instead of you having to place it individually.
I thought that was her ult, and then the shield wall was
her ult was going to be the shield wall. I thought.
I thought
it will shield all teammates within a radius and ignores line of sight.
So that's the ultimate?
No.
Yeah, that is the shield generator. The teleporter will still stick around and will have more health. And some more health was also added to the teleporter, and some of its shield health, which will help teammates regenerate. So that means that you will get a little bit of shield coming out of the teleporter as well.
Good. I mean, she's in the healer class.
No, that means that they've added a shield to the teleporter's health, so that after it's been damaged, it will regenerate some of its health back.
Because it talks about teammates regenerating now.
I don't know what that means, but the shield help. Like when you have a shield on you, the shield regenerates.
Yeah,
where armor does not.
Well, and then her shields in general are being revamped.
Anybody but Roadhog.
For a quote, fun element instead of a chore. The new element is called Photon Barrier and is replacing her shields. It will be similar to Reinhardt's or Winston's, but is instead projected on a track of movement.
Yeah.
So she's going to be shielding the crap out of people in this game now at this point. Yeah. Like she could just defend the entire time.
Mm-hmm. She's probably going to have to be a must-have character on defense.
Well,
and maybe even attack.
This is all PTR. All this stuff can change. Like that's the one thing we need to remember. This is all PTR. The sentry turret changes are also in the works and will allow Symmetra to start with 6 rather than 3, which is current. Each will also regenerate in 10 seconds instead of 12 seconds, which is the current regen time. So they'll regen 2 seconds quicker than they currently do.
Starting with 6 is crazy.
Yeah, the reason for that is like it takes so long to set up a nest, as they like to call them.
Yeah.
Where like you go in there and demolish 6 turrets in a teleporter. Mm-hmm. Like it's like you might as well switch characters at that point because it took you half the game to set that up, and now it's just not happening.
Yeah. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see her.
But the last
used,
part,
but yeah,
they increased her primary range.
Yeah, that is.
They said not by much, but enough. Because if you,
I see right here now. Yeah,
and the thing about that is like she actually does a massive amount of damage if she's got that beam on you.
Yeah, like if she stays on you long enough, like if you don't know that she's nearby and she's hitting you all of a sudden, by the time you realize where she's at, you're probably going to be dead.
As playing as Roadhog, you really have to watch for her because you don't have the shield or the armor for her to like kind of chisel through before it gets to the squishy parts.
One like normally I'm playing, Soldier 76, which, like I said, the moment that I notice where she's at, I'm dead already. So
it's the kind of thing where it's like. She sneaks up on you as a soldier, man. You've been doing something wrong.
Well,
I'm just going to say that right now.
Well, yeah. No. It doesn't happen as much anymore. But, like, when I started playing, like, it happened a lot more often than it should have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a pretty crazy thing, though. Like, this is going to redesign her character play almost completely. Like, she'll be a whole new type of character to play in the game itself. And it's going to change dramatically how competitive is played currently, and definitely just how standard games played. She will have to, like, I'm going to agree with Hayden on this. She will be like almost a requirement on a team.
Mm-hmm.
Like now, like we're talking about, this is Winston. PTR. A lot of this stuff can end up changing. They could end up scratching the shield generator and figuring something else out later on, and just maybe the other improvements will be there.
Well, that's the thing is like the shield generator doesn't sound like the broken part. The broken part sounds like the shield wall. Which, if that's just one of her regular abilities, just throw out at random.
Well, that's part of the shield generator itself. The wall thing is part of the shield generator.
But they said they took away...
it's a different ability.
Oh,
so they took away her ability to shield, individually shield teammates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Because that's the one that's going to be on a track that kind of moves along with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you imagine that, like, okay, if you've
like
got a
a Winston
Reinhardt,
shield or
that thing,
well,
and a Winston shield.
I mean, it's already kind of what
Like-
people kind of do with Reinhardt anyway. They jump on, the payload,
throw
and,
Bastion on there.
and
But
throw
see,
Bastion.
For
It's kind of the same concept.
But the thing about that is, like, if you've got a Bastion with a Winston, a Reinhardt, and a Symmetra that's throwing out those shield walls, the way to get a Bastion off of the payload was hooking it up with a Roadhog,
Yeah,
or maybe getting a hack with a what's her name,
Sombra.
Sombra. Mhm.
By the way, her braid and her legendary skin is very pretty. We noticed that there's actually like streaks of like color in her hair that light up when she's in like dark locations.
Yeah,
it's cool.
So like, anyway,
The details.
it's very pretty.
yeah. So, but I mean,
Anyway,
this is cool. Like,
the
this
thing about
is,
that is like, if you've got a shield there, like Sombra can't hack through it. She
Yeah.
has to get around behind it, and like, I'm just thinking those three characters, like, if they're being played well, it's going to be impossible. Well, those four characters, I guess if you put it that way, like, are going to be impossible to get through with that set team.
Does that mean that we'll probably see some redesigns for other characters? Or
Torbjorn, maybe. I can see them redoing Torby.
I think that he could get a buff back up on the consoles and be viable again.
yeah,
There's been a lot of people playing him more recently. I would think that Roadhog, of all of them, would be getting the next one. Not necessarily that he feels underpowered, but he feels underpowered by comparison to like other tanks.
yeah.
Maybe Winston on the same side there.
Yeah, but
I was gonna say Winston's pretty.
He has a lot more survivability than a lot of other tanks because he has that heal.
yeah,
And it heals him for a lot.
But he doesn't have the armor and he doesn't have the shield.
he can still take quite a bit of damage though.
But
He has
that's
like 600
like it takes like I can if you take like a diva
Yeah,
and like you put her defending like a payloader sitting on there, like she can shoot for miles. Like the range that she has on those stupid guns that don't have a reload or a cooldown is ridiculous.
yeah,
And then she's got the shield that is massive that she can spread it across an area and absorb all incoming fire just
Yeah.
if she points sideways, which I think is garbage.
Yeah.
But there's that, and then there's Roadhog. And Roadhog can hook people. Granted, I can hook through some shields. I can't hook through a Genji Deflect. I can't hook through other shields.
Well, I always
I've got
thought.
4 rounds of ammunition, and
Yeah.
that's the thing for me.
I mean, I guess that's true. Yeah,
Like, it's 4 rounds, and it's like there are shotgun blasts that have to be timed or ranged perfectly.
yeah.
So
Well, I always thought that, like, even though we have specific, like, class types, you know what I mean, for this game, that I always thought that maybe it was, like, there were certain classes in there that were kind of dual, you know, where they were damage and they were tank, and I always kind of thought that
it
was
kind
kind
of
of
comes off
Roadhog's
that way.
type
But
thing,
like,
because his damage output is a lot higher than the other tanks, in my opinion.
He's a defense and a tank sort of simultaneously.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that's kind of the thing is each tank kind of has that in set situations. Like Diva is a damage whore. Like she's crazy.
Yeah.
It takes. I mean, I can.
I
You
mean,
have to
they
focus
just,
a Diva.
they had to buff her, though, right?
They buffed her like twice,
Yeah.
and she's actually gotten a buff in like a third form where they took away her movement penalty when she shoots. So it used to be like
Did
you jet
they?
over somewhere and like she'd have to stop and start shooting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I
as
remember
she's
she used
shooting,
to
she would move very slowly.
Yeah.
They took that away, so now she moves very fast
Oh,
all the
interesting.
time. And it's
Huh.
kind of, it's even worse. But yeah, like that's the thing is like, as another tank, I could hook her, pull her in, and blast her once, and then she's got her shield to try to back away.
Yeah.
And like that, it'll take me at least 3 shots, if not 4, to drop a Diva out of her mech. And after that, she's going to eject into her little, run around doing nothing. But she still does a ton of damage at that point. And
Yeah.
a good Diva will come out shooting.
Yeah.
And a good Diva that comes out shooting is usually aiming for your head. And her shots move very quickly, and like it's hard to like. You have to have somebody else there to catch her at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And like as a Roadhog, it's my experience. Like when she comes out, like if I throw my hook immediately, it's always going to hook her mech.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like if I'm a Reinhardt and I knocked her out of her mech, like I can just swing the second she comes out, and that swing's going to kill her.
Yeah.
And like Winston, like he's just got a spray, so it just auto seeks.
Yeah.
And Zarya, Zarya doesn't die. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Well, so my next question to this is, like, since we got such a huge update to a character, like, should we expect a lot of characters for Overwatch? Do you think we're going to get, I mean, you take games like League of Legends or Here's the Storm or even Dota, too. Like,
I think
they are constantly releasing characters. Like, are we going to see a similar thing with Overwatch?
I think you'd expect to see maybe 2 or 3 a year, just to.
I was gonna say the same.
It's kind of an event, when a character comes. Like Sombra was an enormous deal,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Like it's the kind of thing. Like I think Blizzard's always very aware of how do you balance that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And League of Legends and
Smite.
anything else, Smite and anything that is structured like that, the MOBA style thing, it just gets bloated after a while. Where we've got 100 champions. Great. Now I have to learn the abilities of every single one and why that guy killed me.
Well, I mean, aside from Smite, 'cause Smite has released a lot of characters kind of all at once. I mean, League of Legends has been out for a really long time now, so they've had time. And
that's the thing is Smite is very much structured after League of Legends.
Yeah,
and they're doing. Exactly
so is it kind of convoluted a little bit as far as some of the characters?
Just in the effect of okay, here's a new character, and I have to learn 5 of their what 5 abilities they have, what their role is, how that
It might just be easier to go after the World of Warcraft style, where you keep the same stuff and then you just rework it once every
I like that they
couple
have
years.
the kind of the set 4 roles, like the tank, the assault, the support, and
so that'll probably change it up a little bit, is what you're saying. Because I mean, you kind of have something similar to League of Legends. Each characters have a type of class that they're built for, whether they're a tank or damage dealer or support of some sort.
If you look at the structure of Overwatch, it's been very much every character represents a element of a shooter that's already been out.
Yeah,
and there's not they've got a lot in there already, and there's not much left to go in there.
Okay.
I mean, you could argue that
They'll always find something though.
D.Va kind of has that Titanfall thing.
Where she calls down the mech, and if it lands on you, you die, and it's pretty cool.
And maybe that could be something that, they have a character built on the other side of that where you play as the, dude running around, and then a mech drops down, and you get into it, or something like that. But I think they will continue to add characters, but only as long as it makes sense to.
Okay. I agree with that. So to kind of move along with the Overwatch talk, though. Something that's news, but not really news for people that know anything about Blizzard or just video games in general that are kind of online events. We're going to get a holiday event.
Feast of Winterfell is coming to...
The Feast of Winterfell is coming to Overwatch. So there were some files posted on Reddit by a user named Venxa, or Vens? Anyway, Vensa, or whatever. And it includes clips from new heroes' interactions, as well as a Christmas jingle. So the reason why I kind of want to talk about this, because they're not only talking about this Christmas event, they're also talking about a new arena mode that could be coming as well, because there are new announcer lines by Athena. So we're looking at quite a bit of content probably over the next month or so with Overwatch, which I think is actually kind of crazy, just due to the fact that we just got a brand new character and we just got arcade mode.
And Season 3 is about to start, too.
This game came out this year. I think we forget that.
About 6 months ago.
Yeah, it was back in May.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Came out back in May.
And how many people were watching the freaking Overwatch finals in BlizzCon?
Well, see, this game is incredibly popular, and they're coming out with so much content on a regular basis, and it's all free. All free.
As long as you buy the base game.
As long as you buy the base game, you get everything else for free. All the extra characters, all that stuff.
So far.
I mean, this is true. This is so far. To be honest, with the structure they built around Overwatch, I don't see them. Unless Blizzard no longer is working on Overwatch and Activision takes over.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see.
Add all your favorite Call of Duty characters to Overwatch.
Yeah.
You're like Captain Price.
Yeah, and they'll ruin it for sure.
And
so
the older Captain Price. And
Overduty.
Guy who died in Nuke. And
but that kind of gets me to move on to our next subject on downloadable content. Ubisoft's had a lot of stuff to talk about this last week. Which is kind of crazy because this last week has been pretty desolate as far as news go, because We have the holiday here in the States, and nobody wants to do anything but eat turkey and buy crap online and in retail stores. However, in Canada, some stuff going on in Ubisoft. So Ubisoft says it will no longer sell downloadable content that is required to enjoy the full game experience.
So that means like expansions and stuff for stories, right?
So let's talk about a game specifically. We all jumped on that bandwagon, and I actually really enjoyed that game for a short amount of time.
Which one were we talking about?
Oh, The Division.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's right. You know, the game that basically required you...
I still like that game.
I mean, that game is great. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of good about that game. There is some bad about
Dave
it as well.
is fuming right now.
No, like that game is like the second coming of Destiny.
Yeah.
Where like there's a lot of potential there, but it also has like a lot of the same flaws. And they're going about tackling them in a different way.
And that's the thing. Some of the same flaws. Mm-hmm. What was the main issue that Destiny had? The downloadable content, the expansions. Mm-hmm. This was stuff that should have been released with the game. Mm-hmm. Period. There is no excuse for it.
Stuff that they
try to come up with excuses for it.
We found out that like the Taken King stuff was all planned to be in the game, like before they decided to chop it all up and alienate, three of the, probably arguably the greatest minds they had as a part of the franchise.
Yeah. Yep.
But with Division, that's the name.
Division.
I almost call it Overwatch.
The Division.
With Division, like the things that I was missing out of there was like, I think the what was that part in the middle?
Dark Zone?
Yeah.
Dark Zone.
Like that was a good idea, but it kind of wasn't. Because if you wanted to get good at the Dark Zone, what are your options?
You had to have friends.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you had to have
If you're running around in there without friends, like you don't know, like there's just this small circle of people that are doing that.
Well, not to mention, if you let's say you start playing the Division now, the Dark Zone's like empty where you would normally be. Like it doesn't give you the same feeling.
Mm-hmm.
We started playing that game when it came out. We even played the beta, and we had a lot of fun in the Dark Zone. But
like even like running through there and like the heavy snowfall sets in, and like you can just barely see through. There's guys down there.
The atmosphere in that game during the beta was phenomenal.
Well, and I still think that had some of the best atmosphere in a game in general on console. Yeah. Like hands down.
There's some really cool things.
Like the feeling that you got as you were going down the streets of New York, like you're scared. Yeah. Like you're truly worried about what's going on, and the Dark Zone just kind of intensified that entire feeling.
But the thing about that is, like, if you wanted to get good, if you wanted to be good at the Dark Zone, you'd have to be good at the player versus player.
Yeah.
The only place that was in the Dark Zone. So unless you spent a lot of time in there, like, it wasn't going to happen. You needed a group to do that. Mm-hmm. A group that was interested in doing that. Like, the way that should have been able to get around was having a matchmaking thing for player versus player content, whether it's a deathmatch, a capture the flag, like who cares?
Yeah.
A headquarters thing, like it doesn't matter. But the point is, like, the matchmaking for player versus player content allows everybody to progress as a community in that same direction. Whereas, like, just said, like, well, this is where you fight, guys, in the center here. Only come here if you want to fight, guys. Okay, bye. Like, that wasn't acceptable.
Yeah.
And it still isn't.
Well, the other issue that I had with the Division, aside from the Dark Zone, was the downloadable content issue. Is that, like, you could kind of plow through that game and be done with it, and then the story, it's not over with. Like, you get to the end of that game, you know that there's more to the story.
Yeah.
But how are we supposed to get that?
Expansions.
The expansions, downloadable content. What crap is that? So you're telling me, you're giving me a game where I couldn't even experience this full story without buying more game later on down the road?
And like the raid that they put in, which is arguably not a raid.
Yeah.
But like, that was like, we attempted that. Mm-hmm. And like, that was just so ridiculously hard.
Yeah.
Just unbalanced mess. Like, I would, like, that's not fun.
Yeah.
That wasn't fun. Like,
well, they came around and, fixed a lot of the mechanics in it, and supposedly it's actually doable now.
I'm not there. I didn't see it. Doesn't matter. Do you still have that game?
Yeah. I'm thinking about putting it back in because I did actually get...
Because we started talking
That was the very first and so far the only game I've ever bought the gold edition of. The one that comes with the game and the season pass.
Yeah.
And I need to jump back in because I think I'm an expansion and a half behind.
I've bought like 5 games that have season passes.
Yeah.
And I've never seen any of the content for it.
See, and that's the ridiculous part. And that's the other issue with this is... Okay, I understand the purpose behind downloadable content. Okay, so to kind of jump into what Ubisoft was saying, this is all coming from the VP of Live Operations. Her name is Anne, and she was saying that monetization is something.
Hi, Anne.
Monetization is something we have to be very careful about, and my team is in charge of that and making sure we find the right balance. If it's not adding something on top of the actual experience of the game, then it's no good. And because you'll be asking for more money for the wrong reasons. Okay, so Division, like what she just said right there, Division does the complete opposite of.
Yep.
You get to the end of the game, it's not the end of the game. You know that you're going to have to pay for downloadable content if you want to know the end of that story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem with this. That's my issue with downloadable content. Like, downloadable content should always be a choice. I understand the purpose and idea of downloadable content. You want to extend the life of the game, and you want to get more money based off the game that people have already bought. That's understandable. So, give me something that I can choose whether or not I want to buy. If I'm playing a game and I'm forced to buy something extra, that's ridiculous.
So in the case of Division, and Destiny as a whole as well,
Yeah.
what would you say if, like, instead of doing making all the expansions free,
So,
and then having, like, okay, when an expansion comes out, here's a new expansion boost that comes out, where it's like, it's not necessarily giving you, like, an experience boost, but, like, here's an infusion of money, here's a couple items that'll help you get going.
So I have a couple of
some
different
cosmetic
That
things.
could also be seen as pay to
a couple
win.
of different ideas though.
But-
That is.
But okay, here's the thing: the boost of money and the items that you're getting are not. They're nowhere near to be end game things. Like, it's going to give you an easy bump like early on, and that's it. Like, we're talking greens.
but,
we're not
like,
talking
So World of
I
Warcraft.
could see something. I could
Yeah.
see something like that. Now, the one thing.
like the World of Warcraft.
So, for instance, Overwatch.
or the
Let's
hard boost.
take Overwatch for instance. They're not going to charge you for any downloadable
Mm-hmm.
content they release for the game, right? And why is that? Because they have loot boxes. Okay.
$200 if you're asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So they would spend $200 on loot boxes.
And that's just myself,
Now,
okay?
see, and that's the
I've
thing.
spent more money
You-
on loot boxes for other people. If that's the next question.
So you have chosen that you want to buy those loot boxes, but you don't have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
No, the enjoyment that I get from Overwatch is such that I go, like, you know what? I really enjoy this game. I want it to succeed. And the things that I get out of these loot boxes are usually pretty cool.
see, and that's the thing, and that's what they should be doing. Don't make it something that's required. Make it something that I can choose. For instance, let's talk about Halo 5. Now, we all know that Halo 5 has its flaws, okay? But all of the DLC they're releasing for that game is free. Why? Because they have the war packs. You know what I mean?
Requisition packs.
Requisition packs, yeah. They have the requisition packs, which you can, purchase if you want, and you don't even have to purchase them. You can earn them, much like the loot boxes from
And those are done
Overwatch.
so poorly as well, just for the record. So,
But my point is that they're finding other ways of adding paid downloadable content without forcing people to buy stuff.
and on the surface,
you know,
as they're doing that, structuring the same as Overwatch, or Overwatch structuring the same as Halo, whatever. Like, that is a more digestible solution.
And I mean, we could talk about things like let's Elder Scrolls Online. Okay, it's a free to play MMO. All right, you can pay a subscription cost. You can even purchase the downloadable content.
There's mounts
It's
you can buy.
not required in order to play the game, though. You know what I mean? You can play through that entire game without purchasing any of that stuff. All of that additional content is exactly what it is, just additional content. If you want the extension on the life of the game, then you can choose to purchase that extension.
That was a terrible game, by the way. I'm just saying.
Elder Scrolls Online?
At launch for the console.
At
We're
launch.
just saying,
actually, it's
at launch
actually really
for
good
the
now.
console.
Just so you know.
I'm just saying, like, getting in there, like, there was no direction whatsoever. Like, I have no idea where I know I can buy.
Oh, they've fixed a lot of those issues. Like, so you know how Skyrim gives you actual like markers and stuff and tells you where to go.
Quest
They
points and stuff.
they put that into Elder Scrolls Online.
But where do I go to get a mount? Like, what does that entail?
So you can start writing mounts like right from the get go in that game.
Where do I get it?
Purchase it.
From the store
Mhm.
for $10?
I mean,
Well, there's a mountain vendor.
Oh, because that was never pointed out.
Well, see, now there's things on there that have been pointed out. Like Hayden and I are talking about, that game was broken.
is there
when
a
it first
dungeon
came out.
finder?
It's actually, yes, there is actually.
Because that was the worst.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
that was like.
I mean,
a year
there's
ago.
things that I could
You played
complain
that?
about with Elder Scrolls Online.
That
but,
feels like it was 5 years ago.
It does. It's so weird.
but downloadable content, like, this is ridiculous. Some of these companies, like we got season pass after season pass after season pass. Okay,
Like in the
so
Titanfall. Was
we
a
all
really good
understand
example.
that I work for a certain retailer. Okay, I go to store manager conferences every year. Okay, my first conference, there might be one publisher that talks about a friggin' season pass for a game. Every single one of my classes now, there's a season pass attached to the game. There's a season pass attached to the game. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, why? What is it attached?
But do you think that sort of period of game development is starting to come to an end, where they're figuring out different ways to monetize it?
I think
not tied to
yes
season
and no.
passes?
I think this is the beginning of maybe seeing that come to an end. Companies like Ubisoft, if they actually jump on board with this, because just because they're saying they're going to do
Oh,
it
hell no.
does not necessarily mean they're going to do it.
Do you remember a couple years back, Ubisoft, like there was a quote from Ubisoft from an E3. I'm pretty sure it was Ubisoft, but they were basically them saying, like, we want to turn our $60 purchases into $200 purchases.
I don't remember it being Ubisoft, but I do remember people talking about that.
Basically saying that, like, it was very poorly worded, but basically saying, like, you know, when you go out and buy a game, it's $60, but we want you to actually be spending $200 over the course of the game, because that's kind of like maybe a sweet spot for how much money they spend on developing the stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think in the case of Overwatch and Halo, like Halo less so because it's a mess, but
Much.
like but like Gears kind of as well. Like, I haven't really seen their rack packs, but
Gears?
Gears has
Yeah,
replication
the
packs
new
like that.
one.
They do have packs, but they are charging for the maps and stuff like that. So,
Ooh.
Microsoft kind of took a step backwards, in my opinion, when it came to Gears. Because
That's
there's
fine.
no season pass to that, and it gets.
That's
you
all right.
maps
The
and all
Gears
that
audience
stuff.
is actually a step backwards as well.
Thanks, Dave. I'm not playing that right now.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Just say it, Hayden. Next time you go, Gears of War.
Wasn't
woo!
the first
So you
game that
haul
we
us
ever
back.
streamed. You know,
Yeah, not the
no
first
problem.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, we were doing great there. We weren't like
sucking it
top
up at
minds
all,
on that. Yeah.
opening the bridge and watching each other fall down.
Yeah. Oops. But anyway, like I'm just saying, like that at least like seems a lot more digestible when you put it in that context. Like, you know, even like with Destiny and like the Sparrow stuff, or like the emotes and dumb garbage they give you that's
Yeah.
purely
See,
cosmetic.
and that's
The stuff
and
that costs silver.
So that's the thing. Like, I thought that was the right direction for Activision and Bungie to go with Destiny, but then
they
they still charge people for Rise of Iron.
They said, hey, let's do this as well as this.
Yeah, you know what I mean. That like that's like, hey, we can have our cake and eat it too. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to get extra money from you guys, and then we're going to charge you even more for more expansions.
Let's go freemium without going freemium.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous, and that was one of the reasons why one of the reasons why I still now have an issue with Destiny. Why I didn't jump on board Rise of Iron is like, I still feel deep down that Rise of Iron and Taken King should have been free. Like, after the craziness of both the year one Destiny and then getting the 2 expansions after that, and still not having enough content to fill that game, that's ridiculous. And then they're like, oh, well, we're going to release the Taken King, and hey, it felt great. I jumped on that bandwagon. It felt amazing. But then I'm like, they're still doing the same thing to us. You know what I mean? They're still charging me for this. They're still charging me extra if I want any of those extras.
Yeah. I don't know. So I ended up, like, when Rise of Iron came out, we ended up buying a couple of the Sparrows and junk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, looking back, I really do regret that, because it is like there just isn't any meat there to like sustain it. Like, it's, you know, the raid's over with. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, they upped the Nightfall stuff. Like, I still haven't done any of that stuff, and you know, like, I just don't care. Like, and nobody else does either.
Yeah, and that's the issue that game's running into.
How many months has it been out? You know,
Rise of Iron came out in September, so we're already talking about 2 months.
this is really good quality stuff here. Thanks, Blizzard.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
there's holes in it.
Dude, Miles has did this the exact same way.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Nobody buy the Overwatch jacket.
Yeah, so
that
the
looks like an
Overwatch
overshirt.
army jacket, like the pockets are like made out of like this weird satin material that like.
I mean, it's really
shreds
nice
immediately.
looking, but I guess it just
shredded.
shreds.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, it hasn't happened to mine yet, but
don't stick your
I have
hands in the
something to look
pockets.
forward to, I guess.
don't put anything in your pockets.
So she continues to go on and say that
This is Anne, right?
yeah, this is Anne. So
Anne
also,
Manson.
if the content is compulsory for the gamers, it's not good as well. It wouldn't work. It is a way to deliver more fun to gamers, but they have a choice to go for that extra fun or not. And that's kind of what we're talking about. Like, that's what we need to be looking at as far as downloadable content is now. Like, don't make me buy extra story content that finishes the friggin' story. If you want more money for your game, give me something like Overwatch. Because even I've paid for a couple of loot boxes. You know what I mean? Like, that makes sense to me. Like, that is not something I have to have, but I'm going to pay
Something
for
that
it because I want. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not required to have it. And then she continues on saying, no more DLC that you have to buy if you want to have the full experience. You have the game, and if you want to expand it, depending on how you want to experience the game, you're free to buy it or not. The way we monetize Rainbow Six is that people are happy about the new characters and they can customize them with weapons and charms, but even if they don't do it, they will have the exact same experience of the other gamers. And that, I will believe them on, because that's why there's so many people playing Rainbow Six Siege now, is they fixed that issue. Rainbow Six Siege had the same issue. It released, and there was a season pass attached to it. And there was paid downloadable content, and this game was Overwatch, essentially. So you were going to have to buy more maps. You were going to have to buy more characters. You were going to have all this stuff in order to keep playing this game. And, like, it was broken. And so people were trading it in. And now they fixed
Fighter 5
it.
stuff?
Yeah.
Have you?
Street Fighter 5 stuff. Tell me more.
So they had a season pass that went out in a game that already had a really troubled launch.
Yeah.
And they keep adding characters and maps that are not part of the season pass.
Yeah.
So the season pass holders.
So the season pass, the season pass was like their idea behind the season pass was it was the only that year's worth of content.
Yeah.
And they keep releasing more content afterwards. Now,
but the thing is,
only thing that
thing still came out this year.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
And the season pass holders have got like almost nothing.
Yeah.
Like everything that comes out, they still have to pay for.
Yeah.
And it's pretty ridiculous. Like
Capcom already wasn't doing that, right? They released the season pass where you can pay for
by
these
that,
characters.
do you mean Street Fighter V period?
Because Street Fighter V was broken in general.
That was broken during the beta phase.
And then it was broken when it released.
Yeah,
and the only reason why it released when it did is because they wanted it to be out during the tournament season for fighting games. So there was a lot of issues with Street Fighter V, but Street Fighter V, you don't have to pay for those characters. You can earn them and pay for them with a currency, but earning that currency takes forever. Like earning currency in League of Legends can take a while, right? Or earning currency in Heroes of the Storm can take a while to buy new characters.
But there's certain
but this
milestones
is like 5 times the amount of time in order to earn a character. And not to mention, you have to be online playing against people. And let's say you're an average fighting game player. You're not going to beat more than half the people that are going to be playing up against you online. Because those people are playing that game from sun up to sundown.
Sounds like so much fun.
And they know how to play that game better than you.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not bad at fighting games, but I am not good enough to jump online and keep doing that to myself. So yeah, but that is another example of downloadable content, just gone wrong. Like it's.
And the thing about it is like the most disgusting thing about it is like Capcom doesn't seem to see the issue with it.
Capcom doesn't seem to see the issue in a lot of things. Like, hey, why do we need to re-release the same game over and over and over again? Like, look at how many times Street Fighter 2 got re-released. Or how many times Street Fighter 4 got re-released.
Yeah.
Like...
Something they said they weren't going to do.
Like, the one thing that they probably won't do with Street Fighter 5, because they don't have to. They're still charging you the same amount per character.
Who would buy it? Who would buy it?
You know what I mean? Like, inevitably they'll probably have a version of the game that has every single character on it.
But at that point, who cares?
But yeah, it'll come out where they don't care about Street Fighter 5 anymore.
Is it going to be a digital-only version that costs $100? Because you've perceived that is the value for a customer. And me looking at, it's like Dead or Alive 5, was that? Yeah, that's the most recent one. Like that kind of had the same thing. Like they released a $60 version of that game that had all the characters, and there was a free version where you could buy the different characters separate. And then they had all these they keep releasing more and more stupid content packs. It's like at one point they had a all-encompassing pack that was like over $100.
Yeah.
For costumes and junk. Just costumes. And now you can buy that same content pack at the same price and still not have everything.
Well, see, and this just goes to show that these are companies that are not listening to their fans.
Well,
they're not listening to the internet. They're not listening to I'm not telling them hey, you need to go on the forums and listen to all the trolls on there.
Tell me about Killer Instinct.
Okay, so Killer Instinct. This is a game, in my opinion, that actually did it pretty close to the correct way. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do it this way, Killer Instinct is technically a free-to-play game. You can download that game right now and start playing it. Here is the thing about that free-to-play game. The character that you get is a rotating free character. Okay? So a month from now, it could be a completely different character that is free to play.
The thing about this is something like League of Legends and Smite and Heroes of the Storm do.
Yeah.
There's a rotating batch of free-to-play characters.
Exactly. Now, there's only one character to that free version of the game. It could have changed at this point. Like, there could be multiple.
By comparison, this is, okay, these games have hundreds of characters.
Yeah.
This game has 20.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you can now pay, if you bought that free version, you could go ahead and pay individually for whichever character you wanted to play. So you could choose, hey, you know what? There's only one character I like playing in Killer Instinct. And that's all you have to pay for. You can jump online and play against any other person who's playing any other character. You don't even have to own that character to fight against that character. And then there's different bundles you can purchase for a variety of different characters. The other downloadable content, paid downloadable contents in there is that you can pay for costumes, extra costumes they have in there. And then I think it's $20. It gets you the whole first season and I think half of the second season of characters.
But they keep knocking that stuff down. That stuff goes on sale and sale and sale as the new stuff comes out.
Yeah.
And so it's not Dead or Alive where this stuff stays at $100.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. It gets a lot more. You don't feel if I want to get into this game, there's a enormous price tag attached to it. You know, whereas it's free to play, but it's not.
Now, I'm not saying that they're right or that they're doing business the right way, but these are also pretty big games and pretty big companies, and their marketing departments are usually reasonably well informed about this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I can think of why they would keep doing this is if it's making them money, because they're appealing to a very certain audience, which is the fighting audience, and for the Dead or Alive, maybe that audience is what in the video game industry is called whales, mm-hmm. where they buy $300 worth of stuff.
You mean $200 of Overwatch boxes?
Yes, $200. Okay. Well, you probably in Overwatch are not a whale. The people that are spending $10,000 just buying Overwatch pack after Overwatch pack.
Here's the thing:
is a whale.
I've spent $200 in Overwatch packs. That was for you. Two $50. Yeah, for me. That was two $50 ones for the regular Overwatch loot boxes. $100 for the summer game, or excuse me, $50 for the summer games, $50 for the Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
Now, doing that. I routinely open boxes that have all 4 of the items as stuff I already have, so I just get gold out of it.
Yep.
And I don't think you can go that much higher as far as money payment and have it be worth it. You know what I mean? Because it's they're not increasing your chances of getting something that you already have.
Yeah.
It's just you're just getting more boxes, and maybe your chances are increasing that way. But yeah, I understand the whale concept of things, but at the same time. The whale thing works for a video game store or a comic book store.
That's also been the most successful reason why mobile games earn a huge amount, like Clash of Clans and whatever the new one is.
Mm-hmm. But in those games, the idea is you've got a large pool of players that do not spend that money.
Yep.
And then a very 1, 2, 3% of players that do.
Yep.
We also call those people not whales but idiots.
David, I have to ask a question. Do you consider yourself one of those people?
I have been one of those people, and it was a really stupid time. Because here's the thing: they're structured in such a way that if you're not, they're structured for the whale.
Yeah.
To maintain the whale.
Yeah.
They need to keep sucking the money out of them for that person to remain relevant in any of their battles and whatnot.
And I think that's transitioned into stuff like a bunch of video games, like Street Fighter V or
it kind of has.
Rainbow Six.
But
Yeah.
it's the thing about it is like it doesn't
Rainbow Six
transition
has
well.
fixed itself.
It's
yeah.
fixed now.
Yeah, or
but-
Destiny. Destiny's a prime, in my opinion, a prime example of that.
Yeah.
Like I said, they
And I don't think that's going to fix.
they wanted their cake, and they able
I
to
don't
eat
think
it
that's
as well.
going to fix.
So.
I think Destiny 2.
No, I think Destiny 2 will have the same problems.
Sure.
the thing about it is
because,
like I don't
like,
know if that's going to.
If I
Bode
thought
well
that they
for
were
it.
going to transition any better, they would have done that already by now. You know what I mean? With Rise of Iron, with the Taken King, they would have fixed the issues that they're running into with this game, and they didn't. So what's to say that they're going to do that Destiny 2? There's no example that they're going to do it.
The only thing that speaks to a major publisher is the addition or lack of money that you put in as a player.
Yeah.
Like you can try to make noise as a fan community, that only gets you so far. Like you can make resounding noise to make sure that hey, this was a negative thing for this game, and make noise on social media, and that sometimes that comes across. But if it doesn't kind of hit critical mass and it doesn't get picked up by major journalism outlets to kind of push your cause into the spotlight for everybody in the entire gaming world to kind of see oh, look what Activision's doing.
Yeah.
Like then they don't feel the pressure to change it.
Yeah.
And so on the other side of that is if you don't like what they're doing, don't spend money on it.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't fix the problem by them not, them just well, you guys just keep buying it. Like that's the only thing a major company like this understands. And it sounds bad, but at the same time,
no, I mean
That's
it's
business.
That's the way it works, and it's
the way
forcing
they've-
people to look. Okay, so
that's what they've kind of structured their business around.
yeah, like Ubisoft. Ubisoft's been having a lot of problems the last couple of years.
Like,
You know,
just to be frank,
Assassin's Creed Unity. That was a huge problem, and that is probably one of the major cases of the reason why people will not pre-order games anymore. That game particularly gets brought up all the time on why people won't pre-order stuff anymore. I mean, there's other games now, but so Ubisoft had an issue with that, and then we had Rainbow Six Siege come out. A game that is all online, that is all built on player versus player, and then they force you to have to buy all the extra characters and all the extra maps. And the community lashed out. They didn't buy any of their products. They wouldn't buy Rainbow Six Siege. They wouldn't buy
Frankly,
Assassin's Creed
they're
Unity.
lucky that game still has an audience.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed Syndicate
Who else did that?
had issues.
Evolve.
Yeah,
And where is their player base? They had to
remember Evolve.
shut them down.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Like
Poor Turtle Rock.
I believe I got a season pass for that game.
Yeah, I think you did. I think I remember you telling me that you got a season
Pretty much,
pass for it.
Yeah, pretty much everything I buy a season pass for ends up being shut down. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
If you want a barometer for,
we bought the season pass for Titanfall, and
that's another
I saw how that went.
I think that's another great example of something to talk about where the season pass content for that game was very much splitting the player base. I
Yeah.
think we talked about it a couple of weeks back, but where it's fracturing the player base, fracturing the player base, fracturing the player base, and you've got all these different groups of people that have I've got this content, but not this content. Well, all these different things say these players can't play together, so now we're dividing everything, and where once it felt like we have countless people to play against, now we have nothing.
But that's been happening since Halo 2, right? Once they started coming out with individual
Halo-
map packs.
Halo when
I
it was
couldn't
young,
play with some friends.
Halo when it was young, Halo 2, when a new map pack would come out, they'd make the old one free. Because they were very leery of, trying to make sure that didn't happen. I think even that happened with Halo 3. There was at least some free map packs that came out. But the thing about Halo 3 is it also had Forge, where they may be updating, they're putting out new maps that you pay for, but they also have a fan community that's making thousands and thousands of maps. And they're being, they get turned into Bungie and they test them and test them and test them and make changes. And eventually they get rolled out into the actual hoppers for the different game types. So even if you're not paying money for the map packs with those games, you were still seeing brand new maps come out.
Yeah.
And some of them were amazing. They played in just very unique ways. But
yeah, as far as the downloadable content stuff goes, like I said, Ubisoft's been having a lot of problems. They're getting this fan lash, and they're recognizing it and trying to fix it. So it's kind of like what David was saying. Don't give these guys money, because you're only doing what they want you to do, and they're just going to keep doing the
It's
same
the
thing.
only
over
way
and over
that you
again.
can express your displeasure in the loudest form.
Yeah.
That they're going to hear.
Because everybody can jump online and cry out in forums, but hey, guys, you've done such a good job at driving them away from forums that they're not hearing your voice anymore anyway.
Yeah.
You don't want them to do the same stupid stuff they're doing, then you don't buy their stuff. Like,
And I hate to say
that.
it,
Like,
but-
they restructured Rainbow Six Siege completely because of the backlash on the way you had to pay for the content. And now all that content is free, and just the extras like Overwatch. That's all you pay for. If you want it, you can pay for it. If you don't, then you don't. And it's been successful. Rainbow Six Siege has had a significant increase in sales. I think it was like, they said something was like 200%, up 200% from the launch of the game when they restructured the way it is. Now, what they did for those people that bought the Season Pass, I have no idea because I didn't really look that deep into it. But I mean, at least that's a good direction to go into. But to kind of move along and talk about more of this corporate craziness that they can have, specific publishers, and once again had more to kind of voice out and talk about for Ubisoft. Ubisoft says Vivendi takeover could damage culture of innovation. Now, I'm not a fan of Vivendi. They owned Activision.
That's weird. I'm not a fan of Ubisoft.
They used to own Activision. Activision ended up buying themselves out from them. They ruined some of my favorites.
Activision or Blizzard or both?
That was Activision.
Well, they own both of them together.
Okay.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Well, that's basically how Blizzard and Activision became one.
Is they bought themselves
Like
out.
Blizzard was already owned by Vivendi, and then Vivendi owned Activision. So this is what Vivendi does. Okay, they go in and they buy. They do an aggressive takeover. They do an aggressive takeover of a company. So they basically just keep buying shares up of a company until they own the majority of the market, and then they own the company, right? That's what they did to Activision. Activision was finally able to buy out the remaining of their stocks because Vivendi couldn't control it anymore. They couldn't afford holding on to Activision because Activision was making more money through them than Vivendi was making through owning Activision. So Activision bought them out. And now Vivendi is trying to do it with another publisher, and they're trying to do it currently with Ubisoft. But Vivendi took Crash Bandicoot, okay? It was owned by Sony at one point. That was purchased up by Activision with Vivendi. And they ruined it. They ruined Spyro.
Mm-hmm.
They own Spyro,
What a
too.
great
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that exclusive character that I can buy in Skylanders this year is bad?
Well, hopefully they're going to fix it. But
did you know this?
But the company...
Crash Bandicoot is on the Sony exclusive Skylander bundles.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, with $100 bundle, by the way, just to get Crash Bandicoot with your game. They ruined some of the greatest franchises from at least my childhood that I loved playing. All because Sony
I didn't play
didn't want to keep a
Crash
hold of them.
Bandicoot.
You never played Crash Bandicoot?
I never played Spyro.
What? Dude, these were like...
You missed out on some 3D platformers.
Yeah,
man.
like some of the best 3D platformers.
Okay. Since you slightly opened this door, I'm blasting it open. Best 3D platformer.
Best 3D platformer that I've ever played?
Look, you can go with franchise. If
Does
you want.
Mirror's Edge count?
Well, I mean, I'm probably going to... Like, if I'm going to say
yeah.
franchise, it's going to be Mario.
Because you're wrong.
No, I'm not.
Titanfall.
Titanfall is actually really good.
It is. Titanfall 2 is amazing.
But mine would actually be Ratchet and Clank. I think that actually outshines Mario in so many levels and manages to stay interesting across so many different iterations. Whereas Mario kind of, especially the more recent ones, feel very
my thing is
generic.
that, like, if things like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot hadn't happened, Ratchet and Clank wouldn't be here. Because Ratchet and Clank, in my opinion, is almost a direct ripoff of Spyro and Crash Bandicoot mixed together. You never played them,
No.
right? You need
No.
to play them. Like
Yeah.
if you play them, you'd understand. And I'm not. It's not a ripoff. Like I shouldn't say ripoff.
Because it's made by the companies that made them.
Well, yeah. Well, Insomniac made Spyro, yeah, but they didn't make Crash Bandicoot.
That was Naughty Dog.
Well, yeah, but Naughty Dog did help Insomniac Games build Spyro, so you can see the similarities in as far as the company design, but but Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, they were kind of, I don't know, like they did do a better job of the 3D platformer as far as like what Mario 64 was doing at the time, which was a really good game when it first came out, but Crash Bandicoot and Spyro kind of built upon that. Like you had
Mario
different
64
items you were
was
picking up and
excellent,
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, different abilities.
Well, but I mean, like we'll go one step further. I mean, you got Mario Sunshine, which is incredible. I love that game.
That game is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But
And then we're talking like because you're saying Ratchet and Clank's, like light years ahead of it. I disagree with you.
He was just that was
Like
just his favorite.
you're thinking side scroller Mario probably more than 3D Mario. Because
No.
even Mario Galaxy
No.
is really great.
So the thing is, like with Mario Galaxy, like most of the Ratchet and Clank games, like I'm not counting the ones that were not Insomniac developed.
Mm-hmm.
I say that right?
Sure.
Okay. Thanks for paying attention.
I mean, you could have said developed by Insomniac, but it makes the same point.
Every single Ratchet games seem to have a large. Maybe this might be something I paid but more attention to, but it seemed to have a big step forward in certain aspects of the game, like the first Ratchet and Clank game compared to the second. Like there's a lot more control as far as like being able to strafe around things and do your hops and stuff, like just basically avoiding things. And like the story was a little bit grander. And then in the third one, they introduced like weapons leveling up.
Well, I mean, I guess I could agree with that.
Iteration.
Yeah. Whereas like Super Mario Galaxy doesn't feel like that big of a departure for.
Well, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of story behind it.
Like, sorry, I mean, like Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, yeah, that was like a kind of a bigger deal. But like the leaps in those are the leaps in hardware, and I think there's a reliance on the hardware to kind of. It's like, well, we can do this now, and like part of that comes from my imagination hands right there. But what I mean is, like Mario games are kind of marked as like the flagship for
new Nintendo
product.
Yeah.
And it's like, here's a Mario game. See you next console.
5 years later,
and like in the case of like Super Mario Galaxy to Super Mario Galaxy 2, they really used a lot of content there.
Yeah,
and like that wasn't impressive. That wasn't even like that wasn't a Nintendo quality game. Like that was kind
a lot of people disagree with you on that.
I know,
Like,
and they're all Nintendo fans, so their argument is moot.
I don't know if I'm going to say that. I don't know if I'd say that it's only Nintendo fans that would say that Mario
Anyway,
Galaxy.
what I'm getting at is like the Ratchet and Clank games have kind of evolved faster on like the same systems. So like when you got to the PS3, and like the like you first loaded up Ratchet and Clank Fusion, that looked like a Pixar game or a Pixar movie brought to life that you're playing in. Like that was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And even like the fourth one, it's kind of like it looks like the reboot they did.
So you got more and more from each game, essentially. Whereas
and like they
other
still felt
franchises, you just don't feel like
like it still felt like a Ratchet game. Like the
basic game felt like a Ratchet. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and then they would introduce things to the game that just kind of built upon it.
Like where Mario has kind of his jump, and that's the thing that kind of like his kind of movement speed and his jump remain the same, but there's a lot of other things they throw in there like they're completely different. I mean, the way that Mario flies across every different game is always completely different,
Yeah.
It's like he's using a raccoon tail. He's using a hat with wings on it. He's using
a cape.
Yeah, like it's...
Yeah.
And they all function... They're all mechanically different. And like that's the kind of thing... Like, it just... So much of Ratchet stays the same, but is all different, whereas so much of Mario changes.
Yeah.
Cohesion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Ratchet's... They're just a lot cooler.
Were we always talking about 3D platformers?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Where have I been?
Sitting there making funny faces at me.
How did we get to 3D plot?
Well, we were talking about Vivendi and how they ruined some of my favorite franchises of all time.
You opened the creaking door.
I slightly opened that door.
Yeah, and
then David basically took a rocket launcher and blasted that door.
No, David just pushed Kyle and said, "Hey, we're talking about this."
To kind of jump back into the Vivendi thing, they like to aggressively take over companies. Try to absorb as much cash as they can, and then try and sell them off inevitably, eventually, or the company tries to buy themselves back. Guys are making it so hard to keep this on track.
Sorry.
I mean, this is we're doing a pretty late podcast,
yeah.
So
yeah, it's late tonight.
So the creeping control strategy implemented by Vivendi is dangerous. We think that there is a great risk of shareholders losing their value.
Shareholders.
So they are talking about the shareholders. However, this is bad for the consumer as well. It truly is. Companies like Vivendi.
Is this them talking?
This is Anne, the VP of Live Operations.
Oh, this is Anne again.
Yeah, this
Anne
is
the VP of Live Operations. And Anne is also the purveyor of random bull crap on the internet.
Because she's the one that came out and talked about the downloadable content thing. So I'm sure that this Vivendi thing with Ubisoft has been something that's going on in the background, and so I'm sure that people are like, "Oh, you're talking about this DLC thing. Hey, that's cool. Tell us a little bit about this Vivendi takeover that's happening."
In the light of this, what this sounds like is, "Hey, we're going to be taken over by Vivendi, and we don't really want that because a lot of us are probably not going to make as much money as we used to, and we really wanted that third yacht. So we need to get a lot of people to care about us real fast."
Well, the problem is that the shareholders are letting go of their shares. That's how Vivendi is getting a hold of this.
And that's the thing, is because Ubisoft is being seen as a weak company by comparison to companies like EA and Activision.
Mm-hmm. Much bigger companies.
Well, the problem is that and Ubisoft is trying to rectify the issues they've made in the past, a lot of the mistakes they've made in the past. At this point, they're trying to rectify it, but it's not moving quick enough.
Yes.
Shareholders are still dropping out.
And that's the thing, is when you put the announcement of "Hey guys, we're not doing that downloadable content bullshit we were doing before."
I'm sure the shareholders were wait, weren't we getting money from that? If you're not doing that anymore,
they're trying to this is a bad pre-election thing.
So now the one thing to note about that is that when they're saying, "Hey, we're not doing downloadable content anymore," and the shareholders will probably freak out a little bit, but they still have numbers to back that up. Like I said, their Rainbow Six Siege numbers went up 200% when they restructured the way they, went up. So that's a big deal. That's a huge deal. So if they can prove that and they can quantify that in a number, shareholders normally won't freak out as much.
Shareholders are these really great speeches.
But I'll tell you right now, these things we're hearing, these things that we're hearing from Ubisoft right now, as far as no downloadable content, forcible downloadable content,
they're buzzwords,
If Vivendi takes over, that's going to happen all the time.
Synergy is a good one.
Synergy.
And everything the Beyond Good and Evil game that we all want is never going to happen.
They're just going to keep chugging out Watch Dogs and...
Yep, it'll be Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed Rainbow Six and Splinter Cell and...
So yeah, actually that
Splinter Cell
is a very good point. Everything Ubisoft is doing right now seems to be following the Lonely Island Like a Boss video. They start out, and it just all goes downhill.
That was terrible.
Yeah, sorry.
Like a boss.
This is a prophecy.
But yeah, well, and like I said, if Vivendi ends up acquiring Ubisoft, with Ubisoft trying to make these great corrections, because
great quotation marks.
Well, but let's put it: if Ubisoft does this might force Activision to do something like that.
In what way?
We won't have to pay for every damn expansion that comes out for Destiny.
No.
Getting people to pay $80 for Call of Duty remaster.
They had to drop that down to $60.
They have more people. They have more people playing Rainbow Six Siege than Activision has playing Destiny currently.
But Activision also has Overwatch, and Activision also has Call of Duty, and Activision also has something else I forgot to mention.
FIFA.
So, but this is true. But the problem is that if they're going to pump money into a game and there's another company doing it better, this could be an example that people will follow. This is something that we should be wanting, David, not something that we're.
I'm not
going
saying
to
I don't
ridicule.
want it. I'm going to ridicule that. Like it's Ubisoft. Like
Yeah.
this comes off to me as like, hey, we need people to care. So let's do something as a publicity stunt to get people to care. So our shareholders will suddenly start caring. Because like all of a sudden things look bright and sunny over here and ubiquitous software.
Well, I mean, but the other thing to note is companies like EA, they've had to restructure.
Multiple times.
You know what I mean? Multiple
'Cause
times.
They start sucking all of a sudden. That it's called the suck creep, and it just keeps coming back.
That's what happens when you get into like
It's kind of like the
corporate
Emerald
system.
Nightmare. Like,
Yeah. But yeah, I'm done talking about that though.
Are you sure?
Cool.
Yeah, I'm done talking about it. I want to talk about something that I'm excited about. I know it'll never happen, but there is a developer that I absolutely love, and his name is Peter Molyneux. And the only reason I'm going to talk about this bit of news, because like it doesn't matter that he said this. It matters. It doesn't matter at all, because more than likely Microsoft is going to end up just holding on to the Fable name and do absolutely nothing with it at this point. He yearns to make Fable 4, is what he said.
I yearn to make Fable 4. Imagine
Former
a world where you can get a sunburn on your arm.
former Lionhead
Your dog
chief Peter Molyneux
get a sunburn
says
on
he'd
him.
love to work on a new Fable game. Now, I do kind of want to talk about this. Peter Molyneux made me
Tickle your
sad.
dog. You can touch your dog.
It's going to be in VR.
You can have him go fetch a condom for you.
He'll show you where to dig for it.
Show you where to dig for it, yeah. And then you'll have to, pull
You
out
have
your
to dig
spade
it
and
yourself.
Your dog can have children. You can breed your dog.
So
Sell his puppies.
Peter Molyneux
Puppy
comes out
farmer.
and says he wants to work on Fable. If he wanted to work on Fable so bad, why leave Lionhead? You know what I mean?
All right,
Like, I
so-
think Lionhead would still be around if Peter Molyneux
You say
would have stayed with
Peter
the company.
Molyneux was one of your favorite developers.
I wouldn't say he's actually one of my favorite developers. Like I've liked like almost everything that he's ever made.
Because I think that guy he's made some interesting games, but he's also like, for better or for worse, and like for worse being the kind of operating statement here, he's been the world's best salesman.
So Hayden and I were talking about this earlier today, as far as Peter Molyneux and him coming out and talking about stuff that he can't get into the game. I don't really blame him for that. I blame the publisher for that.
How long has Peter Molyneux been out?
Of working
Lionhead,
I
would say yeah, Lionhead, because the other stuff he's been doing hasn't really been critical mass.
It's like, 6 years?
Yeah, it's been a while since Fable 3.
Now,
And he didn't even stick around for Fable 3. He
What-
left like halfway into
5
development.
5 years. Yeah.
Now.
5 or 6 years.
what have we had recently that had a bunch of promises that were made for the game that didn't deliver?
Destiny?
And how
Division?
did the fans react
Assassin's
about
Creed?
that
Okay,
stuff?
but see that, okay, yes, I see where you're going with that.
Are you sure?
However,
because they didn't get any
Draenor?
break?
like Fable, the first Fable game was great.
No Man's Sky.
And it was a full game.
No Man's Sky is one I'm getting
Okay,
at.
yeah, okay.
Because Hayden just wanted to skip over that.
Well, you know what?
I forgot about that. Plus,
I want to say they gave everything that they said that was going to be in No Man's Sky. The difference is that it is not as action-packed.
I think they did an incredibly poor job at communicating what that game was and was going to be. And by doing that, they set the stage for their own failure.
Was it Sony, and was it the developer, or was it the media?
I think it's both of their fault. I
I
think
think
Sony,
it's the media's fault.
I
I'm going to blame the media for it.
think it's Sony's and
I'm gonna
Hello
blame the
Games.
media.
I
You know
think-
why?
Because it was in that South Park
go
song.
ahead, Hayden. I'll explain mine.
Let's blame
first.
Canada.
Blame Canada. So I think it's also partially on the back of the developers, because the point of being a developer and showing a game that's being heavily invested in is to show the best parts of it.
Mhm.
And when the best parts of your game only happen once every 3 hours, it's not that compelling.
Yeah.
So they showed like the best parts of your game. They didn't have to show you how to build your ship. or how long it would take to upgrade that ship. They just said, hey, here's an awesome ship. We're going to travel to the center of the universe right now.
And here's you jumping from planet to planet, like it,
Seamlessly.
yeah. So it is in the back to the developer a little bit. They should have explained that a tad bit better. But okay, so if you're in the media,
how
and
they'll
told
do
the game,
streams where developers will be playing their game for Destiny does it with their stupid people that do that are in company there. Hey guys, here's an hour or an hour and a half of us playing through the new expansion.
Yeah,
and that at least gives the idea of what we're going to be doing in that.
Okay, so now on the defense of Hello Games, they were under a heavy lawsuit at the time and could not do that. They couldn't. That was one of the reasons why the game kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed, is because of the lawsuit that they
gotten sued.
I feel so bad for that developer.
I do too.
No, they shouldn't have gotten sued, but they got sued nonetheless, and because they were being sued, there's certain things that they couldn't do. They can still talk about the fact that they're developing a game, and they can still show off things that were developed prior to being sued. But once they were sued, anything they were working on at that point, they couldn't talk about. They couldn't show off. They couldn't do any of that. And I think that's a lot of the reason why we didn't get the marketing that we wanted and expected from Sony or even the developer. That's why we were only going off of what the media was telling us with it. So if you're on, let's say, something like IGN and you're reading about this game, you're reading this through a second hand. You're not reading this from the first hand. What's that?
You shouldn't go to IGN. They're a terrible website.
Okay, Polygon.
There you go.
So you go to Polygon's website and you're reading about it. You're still reading that through a second hand. You're not reading that from the developer.
I understand what you're saying.
But
my point here, we're getting off track.
I don't feel as if we are, but okay.
But we've been off track the entire time here.
Yeah, I was going to say,
we're talking about Peter Molyneux, and now all of a sudden,
right.
Yeah, we really meant to go.
Talking about,
we were really trying to go to the other side of the Matterhorn. By the way, I learned this week that there's an actual Matterhorn that the Matterhorn is based off.
Yes, it's in Switzerland.
Yeah. I heard that.
You didn't know that?
It looks exactly the same. It's just bigger.
And then I had to ask, is there a better bobsled track on one side than the other?
There is a Yeti. Go find him, David. You know your life's calling now.
Find the Yeti on the Matterhorn.
I decided to search out the monuments that have been recreated in Disneyland in the real world.
The Matterhorn.
By the way, 2010.
2010. Yeah, 6 years.
6
Called
years.
it.
It's been 6 years.
Called it.
But the thing here is I'm getting at is here's a media explosion that worked out very negative for a publisher that was promising things that they did not deliver.
Mm-hmm.
And for 6 years, that's kind of been absent because Peter Molyneux has kind of been out of the big public spotlight.
So the one thing I'd like to note is the game still did what he wanted it to do. The difference was all the extras that he wanted in the game weren't in there.
But people are no longer responding well to not getting the things that they want.
Well, this is true. Or the things that people talk about. So, Peter
the
Molyneux would have to do a better
different.
job at, keeping tight-lipped, about what he's developing.
He'd have to be less of a salesman on the things that he feels very strongly about.
I don't think he's being a salesman. I think he's just excited to talk about what the game's going to have.
What he was.
No, I don't think it was at all.
He did a very good job of selling his games to people that maybe weren't going to buy them.
No, I disagree. I think he was just excited about talking about what was in the game.
Your dog?
Yeah, a dog.
Because he can fish.
So I remember when they announced Fable. Okay, and he was coming out and he was on.
You can have a Halo sword.
It was during E3. Listen to my story.
Kyle's turn.
It was at E3, and he was talking about Fable, and he was explaining some of the things and concepts behind this game. They have tattoos, that based on how you choose to play the game will develop your character. Like if you're always using a sword, so your muscles will get bigger because of that.
Muscles will get bigger. If you're a nice man, you get halo. If you're a bad man, you get devil horns.
Yes, and he did bring that up. He also made a comment that your skin would tan if you decided not to wear a shirt. Your skin would tan.
If you would like to walk around nude, if you want to develop tan lines.
If you're wearing clothes or if you're always in the shade, then you'll grow paler and stuff like that.
You can shave your hair.
But the majority of that stuff was in there. The difference was
different body hair has different shaving styles.
I'm going to throw something at you. Stop it. the difference was with like the muscles and stuff like that. That was just based on putting stats into your character more than him using the actual sword. I mean, I guess technically using the sword would get you the stat points, and then you could put that into strength, and it would make your guy bigger and more muscular. But it wasn't in direct relation to him swinging a sword.
Yeah.
You could swing a sword and put it all into magic, and he would just be more of a magic user and never get those muscles.
It's not magic, it's will.
Will, yes. Will. But, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was super disappointed when they canceled the Fable game that they were working on, because I thought it was actually kind of a cool idea. Kind of the Dungeons and Dragons
Fable Legends and
type
stuff.
feel. Yeah.
They seem to have showed so much of that, and then
They did,
then just
and then they
canceled
shut it
it.
down.
Yeah, like
it was almost done.
I think it was broken. Like they couldn't find a way of really monetizing it. I mean, to be honest, like they probably couldn't find a way of making money off it because they wanted to make it free to play, because that's what Microsoft was all about at that point. They did it with Killer Instinct and it was successful. They were doing it with things like Halo after you bought the initial game. They wanted Fable to be the same way, and I just don't think that they could figure out a way of making people pay for it without making people pay for it.
I think the other side of things, like they're trying to make a game where it's 5 versus 1, and the one guy is the dungeon master, and the other 4 are the dungeoneers.
Yeah.
And painting in the fun in that could be very difficult, because how do you balance that?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the guy that is playing the dungeon master wants to just bone those guys over as much as possible. Like he wants to see them fail. And so, like, how do you balance that and still make it seem fun for him? Like, well, no, you can't set the spike traps there because it kind of creates a choke point that they have to step on it. So what?
Yeah.
You know, like, that's just that's a dumb example, but...
Well, no, I know what you mean. Like, they like I said, they were having a hard time figuring out how to monetize it and make it fun, you know, just in general. And obviously the beta wasn't going well, because that's when they decided, we can't do this. We're shutting this down, and we're closing down Lionhead Studios.
I downloaded the beta, and I still had it on my Xbox, and they announced that they're shutting it down. I was like, oh no!
Yeah, I know.
I didn't play it.
Yeah, that's that was
so sad.
That was a little rough. Like, and I was super sad to see Lionhead Studios go. And the one thing to note, though, the Lionhead Studios that got closed down to the Lionhead Studios that we had pre Fable 3. It's a completely different studio company at that point.
It's the same thing.
Peter Molyneux pretty much took everybody. Like, he pretty much gutted that company. It was his company. He had the ability to do that. He gutted it, left, and then left it with Microsoft. You know, like, it was actually smart, to be honest. In a business sense, he did the smartest thing he possibly could. The problem is much to David's point, Peter Molyneux hasn't done anything really big since then. Like, he had that crazy, like, free-to-play game, that curiosity thing that would unlock certain things after every day.
And when you weren't the one person that won that whole thing, you stopped caring about it.
Yeah.
And then you have some new game that came out that nobody played because nobody cared about it.
You know, and the only reason why I don't think Microsoft would do anything, because every time Microsoft has themselves had developed something for the Fable franchise, it's nothing like the Fable that we all enjoyed.
Fable Journey was horrible.
Exactly. And then they were making Fable Adventures, which is essentially the exact same thing, and that one got canceled. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, we had Fable Legends, which ended up getting canceled, and all of those, even though Lionhead Studios was in one of the
that's
core
3 strikes right there.
For it. Yeah, 3 strikes, like Microsoft's out. But...
Not Microsoft. Sorry, Microsoft is the ump.
I guess that's true. Lionhead Studios is gone. It's so sad. But, because even Fable 3. Fable 3 was a drastic departure on what Fable 1 and 2 were. There wasn't zero change to what really happened throughout that game.
About the collector's edition of that, about the collector's edition guide.
I bought the collector's edition too. I have the book somewhere around here.
I think I even got download
the coin
codes.
And the
we
cards.
Got download codes from different retailers, so we could have some of the stuff they had with that. The controller.
Yeah. The controller. I really liked that controller. That controller was amazing looking.
Now the best part.
It would have been better if it was wood, though.
I never played that game.
I played it.
I played it a lot.
Fable 3?
Yeah.
So I
played it a lot.
I was so disappointed with it, because, like I said, it was a mere shadow of what Fable 1 and 2 were.
Shadow.
Like, Fable 1 did so many awesome things on the original Xbox, and then when they made Fable 2, it was nothing. It did nothing but build upon that. And then you had your dog.
Your dog was a chihuahua instead of a mutt.
And
Control wasn't is different.
then they released Fable 3.
Had a
And it's
difficult time
basically
finding
just a
condoms.
standard action platformer.
Yeah.
There was
Well,
nothing
yeah.
special to it. The special Fable, like the Fable S type stuff, wasn't there. Like
Yeah.
they totally gutted it. And I think that's why Peter Molyneux. I think that was one of the reasons why Peter Molyneux left before that game actually released.
They're probably choking his innovation.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, no, you don't have time for that. We need this out now.
Yeah.
And I think now that we have the people in Microsoft that's there, I think this would be the perfect time for Peter Molyneux to make a Fable game.
They'd have to invest a lot of money, though. Because pretty much anything
have
that he really
two dogs.
wants, they could probably do now if they just had enough money and engineers.
Yeah, like I think, yeah, like I'm pretty sure that this would be the perfect time for Peter Molyneux to be with Microsoft making another Fable game. It won't ever happen.
No.
I'm sure that, the executives at Microsoft are like, no, we will never work with him again.
They still haven't re-released the Fable Anniversary on the Xbox One yet.
Oh, you mean as far as backwards compatibility?
Yeah.
That is
The
kind of
hell?
weird.
They've done it
like
with
out
2
of
and
all of
3.
their other Microsoft titles,
Yeah.
like they won't.
Nope,
they
no
won't
Fable
do it for
1.
that one.
We released the Anniversary Edition like 6 months before the
I think-
Xbox One came out, but you're not getting it on that.
I think if there's enough... So here's the thing. Microsoft, while successful in the video game industry, still is a very new company, and their venerated franchises are few.
Yeah.
You have Halo, you have Gears of War, you have
Fable.
Fable,
Fable.
and then what? Blinks the Time Cat,
Forza.
Stubbs the Zombie,
They got
Forza.
Forza.
They got Forza.
Yeah.
Killer
What I mean
Instinct
is, like,
now.
Yeah, but
Well,
Killer Instinct wasn't
It's not
always
successful,
associated with
but-
them.
True.
I would say it is.
Are
successful.
you talking about like
I'm
just
I'm
just
saying
things that were
I'm doing
associated with
devil's
Microsoft?
advocate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm doing devil's advocate for your comment of like he probably won't come back. And I'm saying if you get enough noise, like a Fable community making enough noise saying like, "Hey, we'd really like to see another Fable game," like that sets the stage for him to
Well,
take
it's not-
his company.
Like I'm sure. Like okay, I joke that Microsoft will never make a Fable game because like. Well, so for instance, later down in this article, it talks about how Microsoft actually lost an estimated $75 million on the cancellation of Fable Legends.
Awesome.
Okay, so that means there's already a deficit on that franchise,
Mhm.
first and foremost. Now, do I think that Microsoft will never make any Fable game again? No, they probably will because they own the license, they own the rights, there's no reason not to. But the problem is that unless Phil Spencer himself specifically goes to the executives at Microsoft like, look, the only way that this game can get developed is if we have Peter Molyneux there. He's the only one that made the Fable franchise work. He left during Fable 3 because we wouldn't let him do what he needed to do to make it. You know? Like, because Phil Spencer at that time, I think he was just a lonely developer. Like, not even a blip on anybody's radar, you know, when that game got made. And now Phil Spencer he's pulling out all the stops. He'll take care of any video gamer.
Phil Spencer, I know you think that Peter Molyneux is just an English Hideo Kojima.
Yeah.
But
It's kind of true.
I mean, it is kind of true. But, like, he still has the imagination that a game like Fable would need in order for it to
he
work.
has the imagination that your dog could in fact dig up a condom. And we here at Xbox feel that we need that kind of mind with us.
Well,
Plus, he's a big name, too.
yeah, and he
Yeah,
is a
no,
big
I-
name. Like, if all of a sudden Microsoft would come out, like, let's say E3 next
It's
year.
the kind of thing like E3 largely is run on like the fan energy.
Yeah.
You know, like the things that you can get people excited about. And saying there's a new Fable would be a wonderful thing. You know,
15-year anniversary, I think, from the first one.
boom.
2002?
Ooh.
That'd be big, but again,
Yeah.
they're probably not going
Well,
to
let's
do it.
see. I think it says actually 2004.
Really?
I think,
Oh, I thought it was
yeah,
earlier than that.
yeah, no, that would make sense.
2004.
Yeah, within my senior year.
Okay, so 13
So
years.
wait 5 more years.
Yeah.
No, but like seriously, I do think that they would need Peter Molyneux to come in to make a successful Fable 4. Like, I don't think that they could just get any. I mean, I guess that's not true. They could probably find a decent development company to work on it and do a pretty decent job at making a Fable game. But
Yeah.
I think at this point, if they want to build and make back that $75 million that they put themselves into with Fable Legends,
You probably do need him.
Peter Molyneux needs to be there. Because his name attached to it alone, people would be buying that game.
Him
With
back at
nothing-
Microsoft would
yeah.
be, it's a, well,
Yeah.
He doesn't even have to be back at Microsoft. They could just contract his studio and give them resources to develop.
Yeah,
it,
exactly. Which is what Sony's doing right now, and Microsoft isn't really doing that. So it would be something smart for Microsoft to do.
Mm-hmm.
Although Phil Spencer is not a fan of doing that right now, though. He would prefer to have them within company.
Yeah. Which
might work as if, okay, you buy their studio, give them the resources then.
Yeah.
Like
either way. I mean, that's what they did with Lionhead. So that would be kind of interesting to see. Yeah. But
you just scratched out Lionhead and wrote your new studio name.
To kind of talk about the awesome of what could be, though, we only have a few more minutes on the podcast, and I wanted to
talk about the class mounts in World of Warcraft.
No,
you don't want to talk about the Air Badger?
No, we're going to talk about some other stuff. Only because we already talked about class mounts a little bit, and we got some stuff coming up later this week that I think we should talk about just for a split second.
Like what?
Because we don't have much time anyway.
Okay, like what?
So we got two big events coming up. We have the Game
Feast
Awards.
of Wintervale.
No. That's not until, later next month.
Cataclysm Time Walking.
Well, I mean, that's later next month as well.
I need Time Walking badges to buy the Corgi. I haven't been grinding those.
You got 200 when you open that thing.
When you open the quest.
What? They gave me 25.
No, they gave you 200.
They gave you 200, dude.
200.
When you answer his question?
No, you get 25 when you answer his question. He gave you 200
when you first log in.
The mail.
And they give you the
quest. It's in the mail?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't checked my mail then. Okay.
So anyway, jump back on point. We got two big events going on this week.
You better hurry up.
We got the Game Awards, which is Thursday. When's the first again? Is that Wednesday or Thursday?
The first.
The Spike Video Games Awards is?
It's not the Spike Video Game Awards anymore.
Oh,
it's just called the Video Game Awards.
Them Video Game Awards.
I mean, it's still Jeff Keighley that does it, but it's not
still on Spike.
It's not on Spike TV anymore.
It's pronounced Geoff.
Yeah. But we got that. We always get big announcements at that. They always announce a game, show off a trailer. Randy Pitchford was already online talking about possibly Duke Nukem, something might be happening.
Damn it.
To be honest, I think what they're going to do is they're going to announce that Battleborn's going to go free to play.
And Duke Nukem's coming to Battleborn.
Duke Nukem's coming to Battleborn. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, there could be an actual Duke Nukem game. They just had an anniversary, game come out. It would make sense for them to announce a new Duke Nukem game, I guess, because of the anniversary.
Only if it was being done by Bethesda.
The last one didn't go very well, and unless 2K is willing to pump a lot of money into it for them, I don't foresee it doing well. And I don't want him focused on Duke Nukem anyway. I want him focused on friggin' Borderlands 3. That's what I want him focused on. To be honest, if they announced any game from Gearbox, that's what they should be announcing is Borderlands 3, officially. Instead of just we're kind of working on it, and then just not saying anything else.
This has just turned the most worst conversation.
So, if you were excited about something, David, what would you be excited them talking about at Video Game Awards, though? If there was a game that you're waiting for them to talk about. Something that you may have heard about, but they haven't really announced. No, not Randy Pitchford specifically, anybody.
Hideo Kojima's next...
Do you want to see more about his, project? More about his game? What was that game called again?
Naked Man on a Beach. Crying about his lost son or whatever.
Yeah, that was really
with the compass. That trailer
still creeps me out.
It doesn't make
when they showed that off, I was like, God, I don't know what you're doing, Sony. You need to stop giving him money right now. But anyway, let's get off the negative. I want something positive from David.
What I want to see out of, I would go for if you wanted to, I would like to see an Overwatch tease or an announcement or just a new video or a trailer or them saying
a cinematic or something.
Yeah, a cinematic or even a trailer that says "Hey guys, you remember that Overwatch series you were talking about seeing on? Here's a trailer on we nailed that down and here's a trailer for it."
That would be cool.
That would be cool because they're going to win a whole bunch of awards anyway.
Yeah.
Or even a new character. I think would be going back to that.
Well, I think I know that we will get a Mass Effect, some sort of Mass Effect announcement.
God, I hope so.
At the Video Game. No, we will. They announced.
That's right. They said something.
They've done that
stuff
in the past at Video Game Awards.
Yeah.
At this Video Game Awards, particularly with Mass Effect, I expect there to be some sort of Mass Effect announcement.
I really don't want to hear about Mass Effect till it comes out. That's just me personally. I
don't blame you.
Is it just because you're sick of waiting for it?
Sick of the name.
EA's. There's a. monotony to the marketing campaigns they run. And after you see so many of them, you're just like, oh, just shut up and put it out.
Oh, you're talking about... So I actually kind of want to talk about it at some point. We don't have enough time to talk about that tonight. But so you want something Overwatch. Like, you want that series.
I'd say that would be like a... For me, maybe.
They did cancel the comic books that they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And to restructure it because... And I guess it wasn't the comic books. It's the graphic novel that they canceled. Yeah. Because the stories changed a little bit since they started
said potato, but you meant potato.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean...
They're different. They're different.
Anyway... so that would be kind of a cool thing. Maybe it is some sort of a series that they can kind of show off, and then they'll build the graphic novel based off of that. What about you, Hayden? What would you be excited for them to announce?
I don't know.
Nothing? Like, nothing that, like... I mean, you said Mass Effect would be cool, but...
Mass Effect would be cool. I'm not, the hugest fan of Mass Effect, although I did like the series. It was really good.
I like the series. I don't want to get that, but, like, EA and, like, just those big games... tend to have such a just...
They'll probably have a new Red Dead trailer. Like an actual Red Dead trailer.
Oh, shoot me in the head.
Yeah, maybe like a quick teaser one or something.
They already had the teaser. I think this will actually be something that will show like actual gameplay.
They're going to have a trailer.
Give us
and they'll run the exact same trailer, except those shadowy figures you saw, one of them will be all in color. And you'll see his name is Matthias.
Matthias.
It'll be something stupid like that if they do it.
So I don't think we'll get any Sony announcements, unfortunately, because later on this week we have the Sony experience, and Sony inevitably will announce stuff because they do.
They're announcing the ability to change your PlayStation Network ID name.
I do think that they will announce that,
and that'll be the big thing out of there,
which will be really cool. I think they'll announce a date for God of War. I'm going to put that out there.
That'd be cool, too.
I think they'll announce a date for God of War 4.
Because, like, right now it's set for, like, the end of next year.
Yeah, right? Like, I think they'll announce a date for that. They'll announce a date for Gran Turismo, because Gran Turismo got pushed into next year.
I don't care for Gran Turismo.
Well, but they're still going to announce a date.
Sure they will.
Like, I mean, as far as speculation goes, I think
this is what you guys are doing now, is, like, running through, like, the stuff you'd be excited for, or just what you think you'd possibly see?
This is probably...
I'm doing a little bit of both. I'm talking about stuff that would be cool to hear about, like God of War, like, that would be... I would be excited for them to talk about God of War.
It's like at this point in the year, like it's just so late. Like everything's come out. Like you're not going to hear about a new game. You're not going to hear about for me, it's
but
like
at this point with these two events happening, this is not stuff for this year. This is stuff for the following year. This is like a
2017, 2018.
This is like a pre E3 event essentially. Like they're going to be talking about stuff that's going to be coming out next year.
It's going to be some drab, extra marketing on something you just don't care about. Like I don't think it's anything big.
Tom Clancy's Wildlands. Looks pretty cool, actually.
I don't know.
Wildlands looks all... Is that the one with like the...
That's the Ghost Recon one.
Yeah.
The Ghost Recon... I don't think I saw that.
What?
It's like Division, but with cowboys or something.
And you're so wrong.
Cowboy Mexican drug dealers. That's what I remember from the trailer.
Call of Juarez and friends.
It's like Call of Juarez plus Division.
I don't know, but like I think we'll get some cool stuff out of that too. It'll give us some interesting stuff to talk about next week, obviously. So
interesting all stuff be fresh. For me to just poo poo.
Yeah, like what? Are you getting the holiday doldrums? Is that what's going on right now?
No, it's just the video game doldrums. That's what I'm saying. Like,
David's hating all video games.
It's the end of the year. Everything that's coming out has already come out.
Well, yeah, but everything that's come out the last month has been really good too.
You have all the Nintendo stuff to look forward to.
So we could just keep talking about Overwatch and how people that play Reaper suck.
I play Reaper.
We didn't mention that once.
I was playing Reaper the other night.
I play Reaper. I don't care. He's a character in the game. I'm going to play him.
I'm going to play him, David.
All right. Well,
and you're going to enjoy.
You probably should practice.
I will practice.
I should probably stick to Soldier because we need somebody to shoot down the freaking Ferris.
Oh, fair enough. Well, guys and gals, thanks for joining us tonight. This was a bit of a late podcast for us, so if we seem a little delirious, it's because David is.
I actually slept most of the day. I'm more awake than either of you.
If you could do us a favor. If you liked what you heard, please hit the like button and subscribe. That would be awesome of you. And then, like I say, every podcast, any feedback would be great. I always like hearing what you guys think of the podcast.
Concerns.
Yeah, even questions. Like, if you have questions for us that you want to ask us that we can talk about.
Spinach dip recipes, we also accept those.
Yeah, spinach dip recipes. Those can be really good and tasty.
We want spinach and artichoke.
Favorite flavor is slushy. Feel free
to dump it on your friend.
You think of like cool sign-offs for David to say? Because whenever I tell David to sign us off, like he does a terrible job at it.
He's running out.
Great job every single time.
But yes, please like, subscribe, find us on the Twitters, Facebook, and thanks for listening. Hey David, how would you sign us out?
Nerdstorm, I choose you!